I remember walking out of the doctor's office one afternoon with a folded paper in my hand and a quiet, unsettled feeling in my chest. Nothing dramatic had happened. No bad news. No raised voices. No harsh words. Just a conversation that felt unfinished. I sat in my car for a moment before turning the key. The parking lot was quiet. The sun was low. I could hear my own breathing more clearly than usual. And I realized something gentle and uncomfortable. It wasn't the diagnosis that bothered me. It was the way the conversation had gone. Or maybe, the way it hadn't gone. Sometimes what stays with you isn't what the doctor says. It's what you didn't say. Over the years, I've noticed certain phrases slip out of my mouth almost automatically when I'm sitting in that exam room. They sound reasonable, polite, responsible. But later, at home, I find myself replaying them in my head. One of the first ones I ever started saying was something like, "Oh, it's probably just age." I remember saying it about a knee that had been aching for weeks. The doctor asked how long it had been bothering me, and I smiled a little and shrugged. "It's probably just age." And in that moment, I truly believed I was being realistic. Not dramatic. Not demanding. Not wasting anyone's time. I had lived long enough to know that bodies change. Things hurt more. Things don't bounce back the way they used to. So saying, "It's probably just age," felt wise. Accepting. Mature. But later, I realized something. When I said that, the doctor heard something different than I meant. I meant, I don't want to make a fuss. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I understand my body isn't young anymore. What the doctor may have heard was, "This isn't a priority. This doesn't really bother me that much. This doesn't need further attention right now." Neither of us was wrong. We were just speaking different emotional languages. Another phrase I've caught myself using more than once is a soft little sentence that goes something like, "It's not that bad. I said it about my back once. I said it about my sleep another time. I said it about a strange pressure in my chest that came and went. It's not that bad." And again, I meant well. I meant, I'm managing. I don't want to be seen as weak. I know others have it worse. But the doctor may have heard. This isn't interfering with my life. This doesn't need much attention. This isn't urgent. The truth was, it was interfering with my life. Just quietly. It made me move slower. Sleep lighter. Plan my days more carefully. But I didn't say that. Not because I was hiding anything. But because minimizing discomfort had become a habit. A polite habit. A generational habit. A survival habit. There's another moment that still feels familiar. The doctor explains something. Uses a few medical words I don't fully understand. Moves on to the next topic. And I nod. I nod even when I'm not entirely sure what was just said. Not because I don't care. Not because I'm pretending. But because asking follow-up questions feels awkward. I don't want to take up too much time. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to slow the whole appointment down. So I nod. And later, in my kitchen, I find myself thinking, what exactly did they mean by that? Was I supposed to do something differently? Is this something I should be watching more closely? I realized that in that moment, politeness took the place of clarity. Not out of fear. Not out of indifference. Just out of habit. Sometimes I notice myself agreeing too quickly. The doctor suggests a plan. Mentions a medication. Recommends waiting and seeing. And I say, that sounds fine. Even when part of me feels uncertain. Even when I don't fully understand the trade-offs. Even when I have a quiet concern sitting in my chest. That sounds fine. It feels cooperative. Reasonable. Easy. I don't want to be the difficult patient. I don't want to challenge someone who knows more than I do. But later, I realized that fine doesn't always mean understood. It just means I didn't feel comfortable slowing things down. There's one more habit that took me a long time to admit. Sometimes I don't mention certain symptoms at all. Not because they aren't real. Not because they aren't important. But because they feel embarrassing. Digestive things. Bathroom things. Intimate discomforts. Things that make you feel exposed just talking about them. So I leave them out. I tell myself, it's not a big deal. It's probably nothing. I don't want to go there today. And again, my intention is gentle. I want to protect my dignity. I want to avoid awkwardness. I want to keep the appointment simple. But the doctor can only work with what I share. When I leave things unsaid, the picture they see of my health is incomplete. Not because anyone failed. Just because silence filled in where words didn't. None of these habits make us bad patients. They make us human patients. They come from good places. From humility. From politeness. From resilience. From not wanting to be a burden. From growing up in a time when you didn't question authority easily. When you didn't talk openly about your body. When you were taught to tough things out. And doctors aren't villains in this story either. They work with limited time. They listen for certain cues. They interpret our words the best they can. When we say, it's probably just age, they hear acceptance. When we say, it's not that bad, they hear low impact. When we nod, they hear understanding. When we agree quickly, they hear confidence. When we stay silent, they hear absence of symptoms. They are not ignoring us. They are responding to what we give them. This isn't about blame. It's about translation. It's about realizing that the way we've learned to speak about our bodies doesn't always match the way the medical system hears us. Over time, I've started making one small, quiet shift. Not a script. Not a confrontation. Not a demand. Just a mindset. Instead of thinking, I don't want to be difficult, I try to think, I want to be clear. Instead of thinking, it's probably just age, I try to think, this is how it's actually affecting my day. Instead of thinking, I don't want to take up time, I try to think. I've learned that speaking up isn't complaining. It's collaborating. It's helping the doctor see the full picture. It's giving my future self a better chance at understanding what's going on. Sometimes I still catch myself falling into old habits. I still minimize. I still nod. I still hold back. And that's okay. Change doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small moments of awareness. I think about that quiet drive home sometimes. How I sat in my car feeling unsettled but not sure why. And now I understand. I wasn't upset with the doctor. I was disappointed in myself for not saying what I really felt. So I'll leave you with a gentle question. Not to judge yourself with. Not to rush into changing everything. Just to reflect on. Have you ever walked out of a doctor's appointment and later wished you had said something differently? And if so, what might you want to say next time?